Brief history of gold and money. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and in today's video I just want to take you through what happened to gold over the last 100 years just quickly. I'm just going to use Google to do it really quickly just to show you where we're at now with gold being the new iron ore as far as jobs go. So if we do US as all the gold in 1941, what basically happened is before the US even got into the war, because they'd been selling so much ammunition and war stuff around the world, they actually ended up with around 80%, I think it was 82% if I remember correctly from what I read back in the day, of all the world's gold before the end of 1941. So that meant that when they decided to do the Bretton Woods system, it meant that the US dollar was deemed as a tier 1 asset because the US had all the gold anyway. And then over the years, people, because the US dollar, if you took your dollars in, you could redeem it for gold, and they were supposed to send you the gold. France decided in 1971 to start sending their dollars back and getting their gold back. That didn't go down very well with the US, and this is when the US abandoned the gold standard. So we haven't been on a gold standard at all. It's just been fiat currency for the last 50 years. But interestingly enough, about 5 years ago, this thing called Basel III got brought in, where gold became a tier 1 asset for the banks again. So you don't need any capital to hold gold. It's risk-free, and the banks, all the central banks around the world, are allowed to hold it. So that, in effect, made gold money again. And if you go to our last one on Google, the central banks buying gold, as you can see, they've been buying a lot of gold. So for 2 successive years, they've been buying over 100 tons of gold. That's just the central banks. So that's where the demand is going forward. These banks are going to grow as they do more trade, they get more currency in, and they're going to go and buy gold with the currency, because the gold is it's an asset without any liabilities. And that's where the demand's coming from, because it's really important to understand where the demand's coming from with the gold, so you can understand that's why gold's the new iron ore as far as mining jobs go. And if you have a look at this map of Australia, and this has got all the gold mines around Australia plugged in, and we've got lots of them, and all the gold sent over to the Perth Mint over here where it's refined, and then it's sold off overseas around the world. We're one of the unique countries around the world that doesn't retain most of their gold like most of the other gold producing countries do. We actually export all our gold, and majority of our gold ends up in either India or the Shanghai Gold Exchange. So this is the thing that I'd really like you to pay attention to here, is all these gold mines around here, because there's nothing else in the world like it, and this is where all the majority of your jobs going forward are going to be, and the future of your career. You know, it's going to be a long-term thing, this gold boom. There's going to be lots of stuff open up in New South Wales. They're already looking. Victoria have got lots of projects on the go where they're trying to open them up. There's going to be a lot of underground mines in Victoria, so they don't disturb the surface. Same in Tasmania and the north of Queensland. There's stuff all over the country, but this square around here in WA, there's nothing like it on the planet, and it's where your jobs are going to be going forward. And if you want a job, you can see, you just need to type underground into Seek, and you'll see all these jobs come up there everywhere. And if you want to educate yourself so you can get one, then I suggest you have a look at one of our packages. The 3-step plan and resume package is a really good option. You get our DIY package, and Jess, who I do the podcast with, her company will do the resume for you. And it's a good quality service. It educates you and gets you a resume at a reasonable price. If you want help with it all, so you want one of the shift bosses to mentor you from underground training, then you can have a look at the Work Ready package. And we've also got the DIY. So I just wanted to do that video on gold, just so people understand where it's come from and what's going on with it, because moving forward, Australia is basically supplying gold to the world, and the central banks are buying it, and people are using it to trade around the world. It's going to be the new growth thing, and it's going to be like a gold rush that the Victoria experienced in the late 1800s. it's going to be big, this thing. So I hope you found that information helpful, and if you could share this information around and like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.